Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for A Stitch in Time. It's a book written by Andrew J. Robinson, aka the guy who played Garak in Deep Space Nine, and it's about Garak from Deep Space Nine. Yeah! So, not only is it a book written by him, but it's also an audible book narrated by him. And that is what I'm going to review for you now, because I read about a third of the book, and then the audiobook came out, and so I listened to that because, honestly, I love his voice. So Garak was my favorite character in all of Deep Space Nine. Out of the main cast, my favorite character was Odo, but in terms of like all characters, Garak was my favorite. So I love that I got to listen to his voice for several hours. And it's funny to like listen to him and do his versions of some of the characters that we know and love, because it's sort of an autobiography of him written in the form of a letter to Julian Bashir. So he skips around a bit in time frames of like his early days to his current predicament on, spoilers for the last seasons of Deep Space Nine, that he's like on Cardassia, and then also some of his time like on Deep Space Nine. So I think that do I believe that Garak would write this ridiculous long letter or letters to Bashir and be as all honest as he was? Probably not. But I like the otherwise format that he is addressing this to Bashir, and so some of his like little side quips to Bashir about this, I think, just work perfectly for what Garak would do. So like if you just assume, like if you just go with Garak writing this, like, hey, Garak is writing this letter, if you just go with that, then the rest of the time jumping and everything else, I think, makes enough sense. And I did like hearing more details on some of the stories that he himself had hinted at or talked about in the show. So I like that we got more details on those. What I will say is that, while there is nothing that he wrote of what his character did or didn't do or whatever else, like nothing was breaking continuity as far as I can remember, and I've seen Deep Space Nine a few times. So I like that they didn't have that, but I would have liked more details on his other assignments. He breezed over so much of the schooling and his assignments and whatever else. It was just like, oh, I started off as a peon, and now I'm very high and well respected. Like, okay, but I want to hear about some of those missions. I feel like that'd be cool. The only missions that we really hear about are ones that directly resulted in his exile. So that does make sense for him making these letters to Bashir and to just like, hey, this book is already, it's not like a super long book, but like, hey, it's already a book-length book. If we tried to go into each one of his missions, or even just into more missions, it would kind of be a meandering thing of like, okay, well, why are you telling me about these cool-ass missions that you've been on? What is the point? Whereas the missions selected that he talks about led from point A to point B to point C to point D, E, to his exile. Like they were all contributing factors to his exile. So I liked that. And that was good, but I still would have liked a little bit more detail, even on those missions, and on the ones that, we got more details about the ones that some of the ones he had hinted at in the show, but I still would have liked even more detail. I feel like he breezed over still a bunch of stuff in those as well. So I guess, I'm the mouse that you've given me a little cookie of Garak, and I want more Garak. So I hope that Andrew J. Robinson decides to write more Garak books, and that he decides to narrate more Garak books so that I can listen to him some more, because I love his voice. And it was a lot of fun. I don't know that they will, but that's where we're at this point. So yeah, it's fun, but it didn't add much more to the things, but I'm glad to have written it. I'm glad to have listened to it, and I think it's worth the time if you're a fan of Garak. So 2 thumbs way up. Brief spoiler alert. So spoiler alert. What happened to Paladine? Bro, why you gotta blue balls me about what happened to Paladine? Like, you build all this up, and then, like, it's even like, okay, you find her daughter, but then you just like, end of book. Like, what? Like, where's Paladine? What happened to Paladine? Why you gotta leave me with the mystery? No. Like, we're all pretty sure what happened, but I want you to spell it out for me instead of just, like, leaving it ambiguous. Bro. Okay, end of rant. So, again, 2 thumbs up. Check it out. That's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.